Hi, friends. How about joining me on a tour of Greece this time? Come, let's go. We went on a group tour of Greece in the end of October 2023. 38 guests with a tour manager. 8 days, 7 nights. 2 nights in Athens, 2 nights in Santorini, and 3 nights in Rhodes. We flew to Bahrain from Mumbai, 3.5 hour flight, and then took another flight from there to Athens. The flight duration was 4.5 hours. After immigration and other formalities, we got into our coach, drove to our hotel, relaxed for about 2 hours. Refreshed, we went on an outing to Grand Plaka, one of the oldest and prettiest neighborhoods of Athens, built on the slopes of Acropolis, so to say. It is referred to as the neighborhood of the gods as it is located close to the Acropolis. First, we visited Agios Nicholas Byzantine Church. It was built in 1923. It's completed 100 years exactly and still looks majestic. After that, we took a leisurely stroll around the narrow cobblestone pedestrian streets of the Plaka. It is said that Plaka was the heart of nightlife in Athens earlier, but now it is more or less a daytime neighborhood. Still, we could see a lot of brightly illuminated curio shops as well as restaurants which were really inviting. It is a top tourist attraction with its picturesque streets, beautiful neoclassical buildings, small cafes, traditional taverns, historic landmarks, and lively souvenir shops. Attractive lighting in each of the restaurants or the small eateries were really the uniqueness of this area. An aura of peace, liveliness, and good cheer pervades the place. Interesting structures are visible in the archaeological site as you stroll around. You cannot miss Jaipur restaurant right in the heart of the Plaka. After the enjoyable stroll, we were back in our hotel and were glad to hit the bed after dinner. Next morning, after a good breakfast, all of us got into our coach and were ready for the day's sightseeing. Our guide, Margarita, explained to us about the various hotspots as we were driving towards the Acropolis. We noticed several buildings which were a blend of the old and the new type of architecture. Zapion is a large palatial building next to the National Gardens of Athens. This is used mainly for meetings and ceremonies. Arc of Hadrian is an arc monument, part of the wall separating the old and the new city of Athens. We also passed by the royal palace, which houses the parliament. We also passed by the temple of Olympian Zeus, a former colossal temple at the center of Athens. Its construction was started in 527 BC but completed only in 131 AD. But its glory was short-lived. 16 of the original 104 gigantic columns are still there. Next, we halted at the first Olympic stadium in the world, the Panathinaike Stadium, the home of the first modern Olympic Games. This spectacular stadium is one of the most popular tourist attractions of modern Athens. After several transformations over its long history, the Panathinaike Stadium hosted the first Olympic Games in 1896. It is unique as it is built entirely of marble. There is a statue of the wealthy Greek benefactor from Egypt who financed the construction of the stadium entirely of marble from Mount Penetele. Interestingly, The marble from the same mount had been used for the construction of the Acropolis. Our coach left us at the base of the Acropolis. All of us got down and started walking. Initially, it was a plain, level ground. Lots of people trekking up towards the climb, the south slope, and then we reached the theatre of Dionysus. Some were perched in precarious positions as they clicked pictures. The theatre looked awesome even today. We kept climbing. Part of the path was cobblestoned, and we could also have glimpses of the city of Athens beyond the ruins as we were on an elevation. After walking for about 40 to 45 minutes, as we stood there, we could not but gasp in admiration. Wow! Here the climb was not smooth. Once we reached closer to the Parthenon temple on top of the Acropolis, we had steps and we took a closer glimpse of the area. I'd like to give you a short summary of the Acropolis. The Acropolis of Athens was a symbol of Athenian power, wealth, and cultural achievement. It is the hill housing numerous temples and monuments dedicated to goddess Athena Parthenus, the chief deity, patron deity of the city. All of us on the group tour had walkie-talkie, and so we could hear Margarita, our guide, giving us details about the Acropolis. Acropolis Athens is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The propylae was a monumental gateway, the entrance of the Acropolis. At the center of the Acropolis is the Parthenon, or the Temple of Athena Parthenos. On the top of the Acropolis are the remains of the ancient, often remodeled theatre of Dionysus, which we had already seen. And all the valuable and ancient artifacts are in the Acropolis Museum located close by. The Parthenon was built in 438 BC as thanksgiving for the Hellenic victory over the Persian Empire. The Parthenon also served as the city's treasury of the Athenian Empire. Towards the end of the 6th century AD, the Parthenon was converted into a Christian church dedicated to Virgin Mary. In the mid-15th century, it became a mosque. In 1687, a Venetian bomb landed in Parthenon, which was used by the Ottomans as a munitions dump. This damaged the Parthenon severely. Since 1975, restoration projects have been undertaken to restore the monument's glory. The arduous, tiring 40-minute climb was worth every second of its effort. We kept on gazing, looking around at the ancient ruins. We just didn't want to go down, not just yet. So we lingered on for some more time, savoring in the ruins, and then we decided to call it a day and started walking downhill. The entry fee to the Acropolis is 20 euros. It was worth a visit. We had spent around 1.5 hours there, climbing up around 250 steps. So it was indeed a tiring experience, but truly, really rewarding. We were happy to come down and then go to an Indian restaurant, the Indian Haveli, to have a satisfying lunch. Our tour manager informed us that we should enjoy the Indian cuisine in Athens. The next 2 destinations in our itinerary did not have any Indian restaurant. After lunch, we got into our coach and then went to the National Archaeological Museum. It is the largest in Greece and one of the most important ones in the world. The collection exhibited there projected the evolution of Greek culture as well as civilization through the centuries. We also visited the Acropolis Museum, an archaeological museum housing every artifact found on the rock and slopes of the Acropolis. This museum was opened to the public in June 2009 with more than 4,250 objects exhibited over a sprawling area of 14,000 square meters. As the construction work of this museum neared completion, the operation started in October 2007 to shift the historic artifacts from the Acropolis to the museum, a distance of just 280 meters. This took 4 months. We get to see the archaeological site below the main entrance of the museum. Several exhibits removed from the Parthenon are exhibited here. Exotically sculpted marble. Our guide Margarita gave details about each of these. We could hear it through our walkie talkie. Such minute details. The ladies, their hairstyle, everything was so intricate. We stood wonderstruck looking at so many of the beautiful carvings, which were an eyeful. Amazing, that's the word. It had been a long walk, long walk along over the slopes of Acropolis and then along the various corridors of the two museums. And our legs were pleading us to have some sort of relaxation. Athens Happy Train Ride was going to provide us just that relaxation. We felt like kids as we enjoyed the 40-minute train ride. This is a toy-like street train taking us on a hassle-free, relaxed sightseeing tour of Athens. It starts from the Constitution Square and follows an interesting route through the historical hotspots of Athens. We had seen most of these hotspots during our drive in the daytime with our tour guide Margarita's explanations and descriptions about each of them. Now we coolly enjoyed all these sights in a relaxed manner. During our drive, we could see many embassies. Our hearts welled with pride to see the Indian embassy with our Indian flag atop. More interesting structures. What impressed us most was this. What's this? You're not going to believe this, but it is a graffiti so true to life on one of the walls on the roads. Then off to the Indian restaurant, Indian cuisine, and then back to our hotel, retired to bed. Next morning, we woke up early and checked out to catch our flight to Santorini. It was time to bid goodbye to Athens, so we took our flight to Santorini. I'll take you there soon in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Bye bye, friends. Take care.